Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming with an event recap. This time focusing on the lead-in month, so to speak, for the upcoming Batman crossover event, Fear State. So we got, as normal, as we've done in actually two so far, month zero recaps. What's leading to the event? So first off, after the events of Joker War, the Gotham City, various governmental groups in Gotham City have decided that they're no longer going to work with Batman and his cohorts. And in fact, the current Mayor Nakano, if I remember correctly, is a former Gotham City police officer. Is basically has made a firm policy statement that all mass criminals are mass criminals, whether they have a bat on their chest or wear a purple suit and have green hair. They're criminals, and they're to be prioritized, and apprehending them is a priority. It is a high priority. Is a priority. No more Batman and his allies get to work with the police and whatnot. No. They're the current. The Gotham City administration is currently hostile to the Bat family. Then we had A Day. A Day was when there was a gas attack. A gas attack occurred at Arkham Asylum. It was believed to be engineered by the Joker, kind of something that was set up to happen just at a random point in time, and well, it did. And while Bane did appear to have been killed by Joker toxin, nobody else that was dead among the dead on A Day seemed to be a victim of Joker toxin, just gas poisoning. Which does lead some to think that maybe Joker wasn't behind the attack. However, one of the few survivors, a guard named Sean Mahoney, activated a system which would basically neutralize the gas by heating it in the air. However, there was some nurses that were basically using an oxygen tank to remain unaffected by the gas, and Mahoney went to save them and got blown up, but good. And many of the traditional Batman villains are presumed to have been killed on A Day. Though to be fair, they're only presumed dead until someone decides, yeah, I want to use this character. So, yeah. Since then, a business magnate by the name of Simon Saint has returned to Gotham. He was born there, and he's since relocated his company there. And he's been pushing Mayor Nakano to adopt his magistrate, to basically give his magistrate program a chance. The magistrate program would be a group of militarized law enforcement officers who would be tasked with dealing with costumed criminals. But the peacekeepers, the magistrate's peacekeepers, as they're called, would be cybernetically enhanced and given state-of-the-art weaponry, armor, so on and so forth. And Saint has actually used them. They have been used on a few occasions recently. First, in an attack on the Insanity Collective, and more recently during the in events in the books that we're about to cover. So, Fear State is said to have four lead-in issues releasing in August. Only 3 of them have released so far, and to be perfectly honest, the 4th one, it really kind of feels like it's Fear State Part 1, so that would kind of fall more into month 1 than month 0. So, we'll simply be covering I Am Batman number 0, Catwoman number 34, and Harley Quinn number 6. Kicking things off with I Am Batman number 0. Over the last few months, we've been following the adventures of Jace Fox, the younger son of newly minted Wayne Industries CEO Lucius Fox. But Jace had a troubled youth. Kind of, he was rich and knew he could that money could buy him out of trouble, and then something really bad happened, and so he left and trying to become a better Tim. While he was gone, he decided to start calling himself Jace instead of Tim, and he became something of a I don't want this one was like crime fighter, but he dealt with international criminals, large-scale international criminals. Has an intelligence network and whatnot. I'm not sure if he was a proper intelligence operative or not, but yeah. Most recently, he took a job working at Wayne Industries and discovered a hidden room within the building that had which is basically where Batman would make his much of Batman's gear was made. So, I Am Batman number 0. It deals more. We get a little bit more with Jace's past, but there's a protest going on in Alleytown as tensions have been rising in Alleytown in recent issues of Catwoman, which we'll get to later, and. With everything going on, Jace decides to try out the batsuit he finds already made, and taking on in doing what he can to stop finishing up a job he was working on before he came back to Gotham first. Well, he hasn't tried the batsuit yet, but he deals with that. Finds that something was going to happen during the Alleytown protests, and a handful of leftist radicals were going to be blamed for it. The explosives go off, but there are elements of it are now things are set up in such a so it no longer now looks to be an accident. So, or it does not. It looks more accidental than, and basically it didn't have the desired effect, and it does appear more accidental. But it turns out the IDs of the leftist radicals were taken, and some provocateurs were inserted into Alleytown, with the IDs of the leftist radicals, and. So, the infiltrators have firearms and open fire on the police, but Jace puts on the experimental bat armor, does what he can to take out the infiltrators posing as the radicals. However, it does appear that he's working with the police. Peacekeepers are then called in. So Jace has to take on both magistrate peacekeepers and the Alleytown protesters. But the armor is badly damaged. However, Jace is able to get out of it. And it was not good optics either, with news articles saying Batman attacks villains, started a riot, can't be trusted, is a thug, so on and so forth. But as it ends, as the issue ends, Jace decides he's going to use the this hidden chamber to make his own Batsuit, and that is where the issue ends, setting the stage for Jace's involvement in Fear State. Then we've got, as mentioned, we've got there have been some troubles in the Alleytown district of Gotham City. Largely has been focused on the focus of Catwoman. So we now move on to Catwoman number 34. Where it begins, Batman's just saved Catwoman, who jumped into Gotham Harbor after a fight with the assassin Father Valley. He meets with the detective that has been assisting her, and the detective gives Batman a file on Father Valley. Which Batman passes along to Selina. She goes over it, learning what she can about him, and goes to meet him. The two have a sword fight, as Valley's been kind enough to provide Selina with a sword, a katana. But katana versus a more I wouldn't know the exact type of sword, but a katana versus a European style sword, broadsword. I'm not sure if it's technically a broadsword. It's definitely not a long sword or a great sword, but yeah. But the whole thing is where he's set up. He has a high-powered machine gun on remote, or with a remote attached to the trigger, pointed at Selina's sister. They continue their fight. Catwoman gets stabbed, but so does Father Valley. That said, he isn't killed, and he's able to activate the gun. And the detective has shown up to talk to Maggie. However, because of him showing up at just the right moment, Selina's sister moves and puts the detective in the line of fire, and he takes a few rounds from the gun to the chest. That is where the issue ends. But among the other things that happen in Catwoman that are at least somewhat connected, Simon Saint had at some point kidnapped Poison Ivy and was keeping her prisoner. An associate of his was utilizing the chemicals she naturally produces to make something. But Catwoman rescued her and has been trying to basically help her get her head back on straight. It's a process, simply put. Which brings us to our next book, Harley Quinn number 6. The closest Harley's come to being involved in any of the early moves made by any of the major players is that, if I remember correctly, Simon Saint is behind the SAFE initiative, which brought in Hugo Strange to rehabilitate the known clowns, Joker henchmen. While Harley is also trying to help the clowns. And she's actually trying to help them, not rehabilitate them. When Strange says he wants to rehabilitate the clowns, more making, his own force of thugs to have it at his disposal. But, so the issue begins in Alleytown. Selina's on the run from peacekeepers, but Harley on the run from peacekeepers is saved by Selina. They talk. Harley needs Selina's help. wants to team up with her. Even going so far as to say, "Hey, look, if you help me out, I'll never come back." But Scarecrow, who is working with Simon Saint, pays a visit to Hugo Strange, and I think this is kind of where they really kind of connect more to Fear State than the Magistrate. Basically, the two having an oddly... basically, neither one is afraid of the other, so they're able to just talk, put aside their various forms of BS and just talk. But it turns out the Keepsake had took some of Scarecrow's fear toxin and tried to make modifications of it to it. Basically saying that himself and Scarecrow can rule Gotham together. Though Scarecrow wants nothing to do with Keepsake. And Strange wants as little to do with him as possible. So, but the modified toxin is used on Harley, who it would have been initially used on Catwoman, but she basically took the hit for Selina because of Ivy. Basically, she's a lot hardier against toxins. So while the dosage does kind of do some damage to her, Selina takes care of her, gets her okay. They have a chat, with Harley pointing out that she's been trying to make amends to a lot of people, and she really owes Selina a lot of apologies. But yeah, so that is setting things up for Harley Quinn. Now, on a side note, Harley's been appearing in Batman as well, and Ivy's college girlfriend, now calling herself the Gardener, has also popped up, and so, yeah. And it's already said that she will be involved in the events of Fear State, so, yeah. But anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. We'll also be doing an event recap video before the end of the month on War of the Bounty Hunters. That is the other event we're covering at the moment. But feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.